Well, hello there and welcome to week 2 of the class. Last week you completed really a rather busy week for this course. You managed to complete 2 tasks that involved making 2 important things that will help set the stage for the rest of the semester. You created a website shell that you're going to be using to communicate all your learning artifacts to me. And one of the learning artifacts that you did was designed primarily to communicate a little bit more about who you are to me. So now I can go online, I can click on the student button, I can find your name, I can click on the link to your online space. And when I'm on the online space, I know that I can go up to me and my students, that menu option, and I can hover over it and I can go to your About Me page from there, because that's where it should be. And there will load a Canva presentation that hopefully you found a very creative enterprise. And then I can learn a little bit more about you. So that sets the stage. And I need to learn a little bit more about you because I have a lot of decisions to make in the sort of implementation of this course throughout the coming weeks. And I'm making those decisions partly because I have a collection of really important things that I know are going to be important for you to learn, but also I have to make decisions about how I want you to learn them. And those decisions can only be made if I know a little bit more about who you are. So that's why that was an absolutely foundational sort of collection of activities to be able to communicate your work with me and to help me know you a little bit better. And here you are. So I'm happy to report that in the next 2 weeks, we're actually going to take our foot off the accelerator quite a bit, actually, because you are going to be contributing something to your online space, but it's going to be very small compared to what you've been able to accomplish up to this point. And actually, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have you do something that is also absolutely foundational for all the projects to come, but it's also a very low-tech kind of creative endeavor. You're going to have a lot to think about and a lot to process. So this week, there are 2 things I want you to do. First of all, I want you to review carefully, study carefully the notes, the course notes that relate to the fundamental skills in instructional design. And I'll say a little bit more about that when you review the video and the information on that particular project page, the ID for Teachers page. So we'll get to that in the next video. But I just want you to know that the skills that you're going to be learning more about and practicing and demonstrating for me are absolutely foundational for everything that you're going to do for the rest of the course. And that involves 2 decisions that you, or I should say 2 categories of decisions that you have to make as a professional educator, and you have to make them carefully, and you have to make them every day of your job, every day. And I'll tell you a little bit about what that is, okay? So teachers have many important roles that they play in their job every day. For example, part of your job, no matter what grade level you're teaching or what subject area you're teaching, is to keep the students safe, or at least help keep them safe. That's one of those fundamental things that you do, you know, as a parent, you do it as a teacher, and that's certainly an important role. And not just safe from violence, but also safe from abuse of all kinds. You know, it's an unfortunate fact of life that whenever you stick a group of people together in the same space for a while, that there's going to be conflict. That's just part of human nature, I'm afraid. And so that's an important role. you also have some important roles related to the kinds of things that you want students to learn. For example, you want to help promote good communication skills, good collaboration skills among students. You want to make decisions in your class that are going to, in some ways, help prepare your students for the next level of education. That's a role that you play, a guide to get them through this phase of life. That's important. You also are beholden to local, state, and national sort of learning outcomes, some expectations that we have as a society. And so you have to keep all of that in mind when you're making decisions about what is important for students to learn. For many of you, one role that you're going to play is to help create a learning environment or an experience that provides your students with opportunities to explore a lot of things and to help give them these broad experiences that they will draw upon in their life as they move forward, both through the education system and just through life in general. You have a role in helping students become critical thinkers, and you, in some cases, you play a role in loving and nurturing the students. And that goes for older students as well as younger students. I taught most of my teaching career, which I spent 10 years doing, was at the 8th and 9th grade level. And at that age of adolescence, there was a lot of nurturing that needed to be done. And so I knew that was an important role that I played. So all of these important roles that you play as professional educators, I believe, are grounded in two very important categories of decision making. And very important, the most important parts of your job. The first part involves making really good decisions about what you think is important for your students to learn. And that's your decision. You make that every day. And the other, which is related to that, are all the decisions you make about how you're going to arrange the learning environment, arrange the experiences, arrange the information, the media, the interactions. How are you going to arrange all of that to maximize the probability that your learners will learn what you think is important for them to learn? Now, I know that some of you might be looking at the field of education right now and might be a little concerned that there seems to be a lot of cooks in the kitchen when it comes to making decisions about what's important to be learned. And it's probably a good thing right now that people are having conversations about what they think is important or not important to learn in schools. That's something that's an active part of the role of local schools and local education agencies. But as I'm sure you're aware of, the people who are voicing concerns about things that they hope their students learn or things that they hope their students don't learn, that a lot of those may not be grounded in what's best professionally. And you are the professional. You are. And another important reality is that, at the end of the day, when the door closes, you are the one making those decisions. For example, if you believe that it is imperative that your students learn how to get along with each other, learn how to be civil and kind, and productive and successful, working in groups. If you're doing that because you know that that's the society that you want to live in, you want to live with people who know how to do that, but also if you also know that in almost every case when people go out into the real world, they have to successfully interact with other people. and professionally in their jobs, no matter what their job is, they need to work collaboratively. So you can make those decisions and say, yes, I want my students to learn how to be able to be successful collaborators. And so even if you have content-related decisions to make, you're always making decisions that underscore something like helping students learn how to collaborate successfully. They can learn that through modeling and practice while they're learning other things, and that's up to you. That's your decision to help kids learn and apply and practice good collaboration skills. And it's the same thing with like communication skills as well. Some teachers go the entire year without having their students get up and make presentations, or play specific roles where they need to communicate in specific ways to other members of the class. And that's a teacher's choice. But if a teacher wants their students to be able to learn and apply really good communication skills, then regardless of where it's written down, or regardless of who's telling you that that's an important thing to learn or not, the reality is there are many decisions you can make in how you arrange the learning experience that can help teach and apply those kinds of skills. So making good decisions about what's worth learning and arranging the learning environment to maximize the probability that kids learn those things, those are the two big skills. And those are at the heart of instructional design. And so the first thing you're going to be doing in the next 2 weeks is learning more about instructional design. And I have some good information on the web page, and some really good information in the course notes that you're going to study. And then once you do that, then you're going to make some decisions about what is important for students to learn. And so the second project that you're going to be doing is making a couple of lists for me of things that are important to be learned, that you believe for your students. So you're going to define who your students are to me, and then you're going to make decisions about the most important things that they should learn. And those are going to be your decisions. And so you're going to communicate that on a page, and all of that information will then be used in every single project that you're going to be doing in subsequent weeks. Because in every single project, you're going to have to identify what you want students to learn from a learning experience, and then you're going to have to apply technology in some way, in some very specific way that I'm going to give you, that is going to play some role in the instructional process. And so those are the two things you're going to be doing in the next 2 weeks. So as far as creating artifacts go, really all you're going to be creating for me is a page that defines your students and what you think is important for them to learn. I'm going to know that you have processed some of the information about basic instructional design, because you're going to take a short quiz over that in the next 2 weeks as well. And I'll say more about that on the project page as well. So that is what we have in store in weeks 2 and 3. And so I'll be spending a little bit of time grading and providing some feedback over your course shells. So make sure you check D2L. There might be some things that I'm telling you need to be fixed or arranged differently, or some suggestions to make there. And also, I look forward to getting to know you better by looking at your Canva presentations. And I encourage all of you to go to the student tab, go to the menu, and to look at the About Me pages for the other students in the class, because they're your peers, and it's just an interesting thing to do. So you're ready now, I hope, to move on and to click on the buttons, the navigation buttons below that will take you to the overview pages for the 2 projects you have to accomplish in the next 2 weeks.